Hey everyone, this is going to be a tutorial on how to create a new beginning point and end point for your Explorers of Sky ROM hack using the SkyTemple Explorers of Sky ROM hacking tool. For this video, I am using version 1.2.0 Dev 0 plus 60A5DA14, which is the current nightly beta of SkyTemple as of the date of recording. Before I get into it, I would like to say this video is primarily being made for those participating in the current SkyTemple Discord Hack Jam, which is going on from May 7th to May 21st, 2021. Entry is open and encouraged for everyone, including you, person that is new to Explorers of Sky hacking. The main idea of this Hack Jam is to get the community to come together, give everyone a tangible goal, and let the creativity run wild. There will be a link to the SkyTemple Discord in the description. One final thing, if you haven't watched it yet, check out my super beginner's guide on cutscene making. It's a little outdated at this point, but most of it still applies to the current version of SkyTemple, and I will be using a lot of terminology introduced in the super beginner's guide during the course of this video. The link's going to be in the description. Now onto the topic of the video, custom beginning and ending points in Explorers of Sky. One of the conditions of the current hack jam is that each submitted hack must, quote, have a Pokemon not present in the base game take an important role, unquote. For this example, I am going to force Litwick to always be the partner in my hack. To see how I added Litwick into the game, I already made a video about that. The link will be in the description. The first thing that you want to do is go into lists and then starters. In this default starters area, you are able to set the fixed player and partner Pokemon, their nicknames, and the team name. Normally, the only time that any of these defaults are used is when you enter Explorers of Sky's debug mode. However, as you can see here, you can use the script command process special init main team after quiz 00 and load the default team, but only if you skipped the personality quiz. Long story short, the personality quiz, as well as the prompt to name the player, partner, and team, effectively hard overrides all of these defaults. If you use this command after all of these values are already set, it doesn't do anything. So the question then becomes, how do you remove the personality quiz? So let me open up the SkyTemple debugger, which came up on the wrong tab. Wrong monitor, I should say. Okay, and we're going to get ready to jump into good old unionall.ssb. Again, if you have not watched the Super Beginner's Guide, I would highly recommend that you do so, because otherwise I imagine that the rest of this video is going to be pretty confusing. So, now with this up, I'm going to boot up the game. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Okay. Also, I almost forgot to mention this last time as well on the on the other video. Make sure debugging mode is enabled. That is important. Okay. Then select new game. Then decide to go through the personality test. And then as soon as this welcome comes up, pause. Now there are things appearing in the debug log. Remember this from the Super Beginner's Guide. Kind of going to be doing a similar thing, following the debug log and all that stuff. I do it all the time. I'm stressing this once again because I think that it is really helpful for you to figure out stuff on your own by using the debug log. So I'm going to be focusing on this once again in this video. Okay, so as you can see here, the script that is being triggered for the start of the personality test is mooao1a.ssb. Now just to clarify, the personality test itself is not a script. It is a hard-coded function within the script, as you're about to see. So let me type that, mooao1a. Okay. So this is essentially always going to be your script 1 from a new file. like, here, maybe make more sense if I show it this way. And hit up a bunch of times until I get to it. Right, so you can see event MOO-A01. So pretty much when you hit new game, what it does is the game will call this event, of which this is going to be the first script. So that is why this is always going to be script 1. So now with that explained, also notice in the debug log that there is a debug print, and remember, pause as soon as this came up, right? There's another debug print for diagnosis black 2, which means that it has to be happening within this script, because that is the last script that was loaded. So let's search for that, diagnosis black 2, and there it is. Only one, what's the word? Only one option, I think. Only one selection, and that is this case 28. So that means case 28 must be where we are at the start of this sequence. To see what the sequence is, let's scroll up until there's no more cases. And you can see what comes immediately before. You have switch message menu personality test continue. Okay? So, scroll back down to case 28. And essentially what we're going to do is take everything from here before the continue and copy it. Then we're going to go to the start of this whole section. This will be at line 36 if you haven't adjusted the script, where it starts at forever after switch message menu personality test, then the label. Right after that, forever, and then take that, and then scroll down, and make sure that you get all the cases all the way up to, I think I already went too far, through here. Message menu personality test end, and delete. Then Control V, bam. So, first of all, let me say that personally I would recommend fixing this, and I'm going to, just because it bugs me not doing it. I think it's very easy for these things to kind of snowball, and your scripts to become unreadable very quickly if you don't do this, so I think it's just like a good habit to get into whenever you're messing around and putting in new commands and etc. So, essentially what just happened here is everything that was a part of the actual personality test sequence just got removed. And we're only getting the parts where you have the fade out, set black screen, and that's pretty much it. And then you can see as well that there's all this stuff for debug settings. I'm going to talk more about that in a second. Okay, so now to test this out, save the script first. And then you're going to need to restart the debugger because you're in the middle of the script right now. So obviously the changes aren't going to go through because the previous script is already loaded in the RAM for the debugger. So in order to fix that, I'm going to need to restart. Now, in this situation, this is where the debug part becomes relevant. You are going to want to actually disable debugging mode this time. And the reason why I say this is because if you keep debugging mode on and load up this script, you are going to loop yourself into this debug menu, which is essentially what all this is. All this like big branching stuff, whatever. So normally, if I go to new game, actually that's disabled, but you remember last time that enable debugging mode was on, right, there's a menu that came up that said, do you want to play the personality test? You can say yes on that with debugging mode on, right? But because you just essentially deleted the whole personality quiz, the game gets confused and thinks that you are still in debug mode and trying to go through the debug menu, which obviously is not really testing how it actually works in game, which is kind of what we're trying to do here. So, as you can see, Chapter 1 loaded from new game with no problems, which is awesome, which means that it got through this script, and we are in now M01 AL101. Let's see. Yeah. After this, the next test is to see if the default team is correct, which we can figure out just by letting this cutscene play out, since in this instance, both the player and partner appear in these scripts at the beginning of the game. Just gotta click through some text. Do. We're getting there, folks. We are getting there. Okay, so you can see there's a player. It's Charmander, which was the default. And there's Litwick, the partner. Name is Dinsdale, which is the default for the partner. So we know that that is all working, which means the new default successfully went through, and we have created a new, unique starting point that doesn't require the personality quiz. In order to actually change the location, dialogue, etc. of each script and kind of take advantage of this new narrative freedom that is provided to you by not requiring the quiz and locking in a certain team, etc., that is all stuff that is covered in the Super Beginner's Guide. So again, I'm going to say, please watch that. It is extremely helpful still. Finally, now that we have the custom beginning, we are going to create a custom ending. And I am deciding that this is going to be the shortest ROM hack ever. So the ending will be placed directly after the script that is currently playing, based on the debug log that is M01A0104.SSB. So let's see in Union All where that is. Here we go. Oops. A0104. Right there. Okay. So it's not necessary to do like a bunch of these line breaks like that, but I'm doing this just to kind of put emphasis on the command that is being added in, which is jump common Coro demo 01. So putting this in the middle of the event like this will effectively just end the event, and in the middle of it going to jump to the new event, which is demo 01. Demo 01 essentially is the first thing that the game plays off boot, right? You're going to get the Nintendo and Chunsoft watermarks and all that good stuff. I don't think watermark's the right word, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I can't remember it right now. I apologize. Let's see. After saving the script, once again, you're going to need to restart in order for these changes to go through. You can't just like go through this script and then expect Jump Common Coro Demo 01 to play, because in the RAM you have this event loaded already. So you're going to need to restart the event. It will load the new event sequence, which contains jump common Coro demo 01, and then you'll be able to do that. So I'm not going to actually do that just for the sake of video length, but you get the idea. There are other ways to forcefully end the hack as well, such as purposefully causing a crash. Yes, you can do that in many ways, actually, but I don't really want to, teach people how to do that and recommend it, because I think that this is a much more elegant solution for like 99% of hacks. But what if you do not want to sit through this whole event again just to look at one of these scripts? That's actually pretty simple. So in the Super Beginner's Guide, I recommended using a combination of save states and hard saves in order to mess around with these scripts one at a time, which is still good, and that is primarily what I use. But there is another useful tool that some people prefer for doing basically the same thing. And to do that, we are just going to add a command at the start of event divide. There's about 500 of these, and the search function, the up and down arrow is kind of weird, as you guys have already seen. At least on my system, I don't know. Apparently some other people don't have this issue, but whatever. But event divide is normally going to be around like line 771 if you haven't changed anything ish. And the command that is going to be added is call common Coro debug scene, and then save. It's taking its time. All right, so essentially what this does, actually let me just load it. Now reminder, debugging mode is still disabled, right? So this is just how the game is going to be for when you normally boot it up. You're not doing anything fancy. And now, let's see what happens when we select new game. Alright, so all of this is a master list of every script in the game to be loaded without any gameplay. Just go directly to the script, just skip straight there. So, if you don't understand what this is, the gist of it is there are two menus here. This first menu represents the names of script scenes. Remember, every script is within a particular script scene. So, if we wanted to return to, as I scroll in the debug log, MO1AL104, which is that last script, right? The script scene for that is going to be G01P01B. And to navigate through this menu, you have to use left and right. I'm only mentioning that because it took me way too long to figure that out, so I figured that might be helpful to someone if I just directly said that. G01P01B, which is right here. And then from there, you can see that this is the list of all the .ssbs. MO1A0104 is the one that we want to look at. And bam, there you go. The script is loaded. The only downside to this method is that you cannot play whole events using the debug menu. Because any script that normally ends on its own and leads to the next command in the bank, like for example, I'll go back to that. So the way that MO1A04 actually appears in game, I think I said that wrong, but you know what I mean. The way it actually appears in game, the only time you're going to encounter this script is within this event, right? So that means that after this, there's always going to be either jump common core demo 01, because that's what was added, but otherwise it would be M01, AO2, 01 would play afterwards. So the fact that this script just, let me open it up. So how the script just concludes with end, right? When it is in the context of the event bank, that doesn't matter, because end just tells it to load whatever's the next thing in the event. But when you're using this debug mode method, you are loading the script in a vacuum and not in the event. So when you get to end, it just crashes the game because there's nothing else to load. That's the main downside, and the only other one is like half of a downside is that you need to manually remove this command from Union All when you're done. Please do not forget to do this, because if you do, your hack will literally not be playable, because as you just saw, you hit new game right off the rip and you go straight to the debug menu. And that is pretty much it. Let me just go back to where that was. Event divide. Oh my goodness. All right. 700-ish. Okay. I didn't want to forget myself right after saying don't forget. It's just a personal values thing. Whatever. Okay. Now that is all for this video. Credit to both Zed and Miju, I hope I'm saying that right, for finding out how to skip the personality quiz, Decimeter for figuring out how to add that debug menu thing, and End for writing a succinct text-based tutorial that is located inside the SkyTemple Discord that I have been using to help write my script for this video. All of the links that I mentioned are in the description, and have a good day.